Hey, what up, guys? So we're continuing the 2019 year-end top 10s in the 175-pound light heavyweight division. This video I'm gonna discuss numbers 5, 6, and 7 in the top 10 at light heavyweight. So let's kick it off with number 7, finishing the year number 7 in the 168-pound super middleweight division. I'm sorry, I said light heavyweight. I don't know. I guess there've been a lot of crosses between light heavyweight and 168. And I just did 175 yesterday, so I think that's why I'm getting things mixed up with these two. But anyways, we're doing the 175-pound or the 168-pound super middleweight division, numbers 5, 6, and 7. Again, let's start over. We're gonna kick it off with number 7 at 168, former IBF champion Caleb Truax. He didn't drop. He entered the year number 7 and he maintained that position even though all the movement around him. He was coming off of 2018 where he had lost in the rematch with James DeGale. He lost the IBF title back to James DeGale after he had beaten DeGale in December of 2017 in what was my upset of the year. And so he was entering 2018. He lost that fight, and he didn't really do much after that. But I think he came back in August and got just fought some nobody and got a knockout win to stay busy. So he's entering 2019 trying to get back in the mix, and in April he had an opportunity in a final eliminator, an IBF title final eliminator, get right back in the mix and fight for a title again, as he was lined up to face former middleweight champion Peter Kid Chocolate Quillen. And I actually thought he was going to beat Kid Chocolate, but he came out and there was a cut was suffered in the second round, and the fight was stopped and they couldn't go to scorecard, so it was declared a no contest. Well, they were scheduled to fight again on August 31st. Excuse me. And that fight had to be postponed because Truax tore a bicep or something like that. So just a tough year for him. Injuries pretty much held him out of the ring all year except for that fight. He's now returning on January 25th against some nobody. He enters 2020 on his last legs, in my opinion. He's got one more chance to really make something of himself. Truax has been around for a while. He's 36 years old. He's a veteran. And he needs to take a stand and get himself an opportunity at something. Whether it's a final eliminator, maybe he can work himself into a title shot, something. I think he'll get an opportunity for that. There's guys banging around in the PBC that he could fight. Lionel Thompson just got a nice win right now. He could fight him in some kind of final eliminator, maybe. If David Benavidez or Caleb Plant can't find each other after their mandatory title defenses that they're making, Caleb Plant will be a good guy to stay busy against. I mean, Caleb Truax. So he's got opportunity. He's got somewhat of a name. He's looked at as a stepping stone guy still, and a former world champion. So that looks good on a younger fighter's resume, which gives an older fighter like Truax, although he'd be the underdog, he's used to that role. It'd give him opportunity at a world title. So I like Truax. I hope he gets one more opportunity to do something this year and gets into some kind of a big fight. And I'm looking forward to seeing him back in the ring. It'd even be a good option for him, Alfredo Angulo, because Angulo fought Kid Chocolate Peter Quillen instead of Truax, and he beat him by a split decision. I think Angulo, a veteran and a former world title challenger, I think that wouldn't be a bad fight for Caleb Truax, so we'll see. Okay, next, finishing the year number 6 in the 168-pound super middleweight division is former two-time WBC champion Anthony Durrell. He entered 2019, coming off of 2018 where he really didn't do anything. He didn't fight anybody. I think he fought only one time. He stayed busy, but he worked himself back into the title mix somehow by beating nobodies again. And he was the WBC's #1 contender. And in February, he was getting an opportunity as part of the first Fox cards that were promoting the PBC. He was getting himself a huge opportunity to challenge for the vacant WBC world title. And he was taking on Turkish contender Avni Yildirim, who really had done nothing but get his ass knocked out in the World Boxing Super Series against Chris Eubank in 2017. So it looked like Durrell was going to cruise to winning a world title for a second time, and that didn't happen. He ended up getting into a firefight. It was a good fight, hard fight. A lot of people thought Avni Yildirim won the fight. I personally didn't get to see this fight, but most people felt Yildirim won, and they went to a technical decision after 10 rounds, or in the 10th round, and went to a technical decision because of a cut. And he took a controversial 10-round split decision and became a 2-time WBC super middleweight champion. That fight was so controversial, though, that they declared Avni Yildirim get an opportunity at a world title, but Dirrell could not go straight into a rematch with Yildirim. He had to face the champion in recess, which was undefeated former champ David Benavidez. So September on the Errol Spence and Sean Porter undercard, he would lock horns with Benavidez. And to be honest with you, Dirrell's a veteran, a good, solid veteran, but I thought he was going to get his ass whipped against Benavidez, and he showed some good boxing skill and ability against the younger and undefeated Benavidez, who I think, at his best, is the best fighter in this division. But he fought him well, he fought him hard, and it was a good fight. He was losing, but it was a good fight. A cut got opened up towards the middle rounds, and Benavidez just took advantage of it, poured it on, kept pounding on Dirrell until Dirrell's corner in the 9th round finally threw in the towel, and Dirrell would lose by TKO in the 9th. But prior to that, Dirrell had been talking about going into 2019 that he was on his last run and he was going to be retiring. But you know what I liked about Dirrell is he didn't stick to that because of one reason, because he actually went in against against Benavidez and gave him a good ass fight. So he didn't just sit there and say, okay, I lost, I'm done. He said, no, I took on one of the best in the division and I could have beat him if I didn't get cut. I was winning that fight before I got cut, and I could have beat him if and I almost, I did really well against him. I want somebody. Basically, he's saying, if somebody can't beat me convincingly, I'm going to keep going. And you know what? I don't blame him. Dirrell entering 2020 now. He's 35 years old, so this is his last run. I don't think he's going to have another one after this. I think this is going to be his last year, in my opinion, ride or die. Unless he becomes the head guy in the division, which might be hard. But he's got opportunity. He's a former 2-time champ. He's a name. People will fight him. He stayed in the same spot, so he didn't drop. He's still number 6. He entered the year number 6. He's 33-2-1 with 24 knockouts. So he's got a solid record, only 2 defeats on his resume to Badu Jack and David Benavidez. So it's not like he's been cracked a lot, and knocked out or lost a lot of fights. He's still the WBC's number 5 contender. I can see Dirrell facing a guy like Alfredo Angulo next. Caleb Truax would be a good, well, he already knocked Truax out in the first round. Maybe give Truax another opportunity. Then a rematch. Alfredo Angulo just beat Kid Chocolate Peter Quillen. He'd be favored going into that. There's Caleb Plant. There's David Benavidez again if it doesn't work out. He has opportunity. He needs to cash in, not take a tune-up fight next. Come back and fight somebody good. Take your time off. He wasn't the most active guy fighting every 3 or 4 months anyways. Fight every 6 months, 7 months. Come back by, my opinion, come back by April or May at the latest. Fight somebody solid, get back in there. I think Dirrell still could possibly do some damage. I don't think he's going to beat the top guys, but I think he could beat the top guys. He's got, he has the skills to do it. So, you never know. But one last run, take your run for it. That's number 6, Anthony Dirrell. Now, finishing up this video and finishing the year number 5 in the 168-pound super middleweight division is the undefeated IBF champion, Caleb Plant of the United States. Plant entered 2019, coming off of 2018 where he got his career best win when he got a 12-round unanimous decision over, I think it's Rogelio Medina, I think was his name. I can't get his name in my head completely, but he beat a former world title challenger, punched his ticket, and became the IBS mandatory number 1 contender. January, his first ever title fight came to happen. He took on Jose Ustadegui for the title. He was the underdog coming in, and he cleanly outboxed and hurt Ustadegui, put him down 3 or 4 times in the first 8 rounds. And then Ustadegui came on strong in the last 4 rounds, but Plant had built up such a lead with the knockdowns and winning almost every round through 8, that he walked away with a clean 12-round unanimous decision and a new world champion. It took him 6 months to get back in the ring, which I was kind of bummed out about. He took on undefeated but little-known Mike Lee and dominated him, 3rd-round TKO victory, and then didn't do anything else through at the end of the year, which I was disappointed by also. He enters 2020, you know, right here, number 5 in the division, has opportunity. He wasn't even ranked last year, so to move into the top 5 and be a world champion's big. He's young, only 27 years old, so in his prime and wants opportunities and ready to do big things. February, his record, he's undefeated, 19-0, 11 knockouts right now. And he's got his next fight signed. He's making a mandatory defense against Vincent Feigenbutz of Germany. So, opportunity to get out there, get his mandatory out of the way against an unknown fighter, but get it out of the way, because what he really wants, and what a lot of people in the PBC want, is Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez next. Benavidez has got to beat Avni Yildirim. I think he'll win that with flying colors. And I think Caleb Plant will beat Feigenbutz with flying colors. If that happens, these two guys are on a collision course, because those are mandatory fights that they're getting out of the way. And I think a summer showdown between Benavidez and Caleb Plant makes all the sense in the world. They've talked a lot of shit. They're both with the PBC. They're both undefeated, and they're both world champions. It would take a win for either guy. It would put them towards the top, maybe at the very top. So, you know, big fight right here, and I hope it happens for Caleb Plant and David Benavidez. But Caleb Plant, this is his chance to prove himself. Everybody knows Benavidez is really good and really solid. He would be the favorite, but Plant, he needs fights like that with his style and his kind of quiet, humble nature to put himself at the very top and get opportunities at eventually guys like Canelo Alvarez. You know, so he needs this fight. If for some reason he doesn't get Benavidez in his second fight, then, excuse me, I think he needs to fight one of the other PBC guys in the top 10. Anthony Durrell, former 2-time champ, would be the next option. You got Caleb Truax, former champion, would be another option. Worst option would be Alfredo Angulo, but man, he really needs to push for that Benavidez fight. So, all right, guys, that's it. Finishing numbers 5, 6, and 7 in the 168-pound super middleweight division. Number 5 was Caleb Plant. Number 6 was Anthony Durrell. And number 7 was Caleb Truax, all PBC guys. So, hope you enjoyed it. 2019 year-end top 10 super middleweight division. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.